This is the third one that could have fucking been avoided if niggas actually cared about did the fucking job. What did I keep saying? Yo, what's up, y'all? It's Tutu. Today we got the disturbing world of amusement park deaths. Now a little disclaimer, y'all. We got a monitor, so we're recording off of this now right here instead of the regular computer. So like I'm gonna be staring this way, but the camera right here. You feel me? But just want to throw that out there. But yeah, let's just get right into this video. Hopefully it's, educational, informational, what not to do with the theme parks and shit. So let's go.
Some common fears that people hold involve heights, high speeds, or giant hulking death trap machinery. As a result, many people have come to fear amusement park rides, especially things like roller coasters or rides that drop
And
you
I'm
from
low-key
high
washed
position.
up from like
As it
amusement park
turns
rides
out,
and
there
shit now,
is
bro.
legitimacy to those fears.
Bro, I can't ride roller coasters like I used to, bro. Like I used to be able to just get on them no problem, bro. But the slightest drop will like get my oh my god, bro, it's bad.
While amusement park accidents don't happen very often at all in the grand scheme of things, they can result in some of the most gruesome deaths possible. The human body simply can't stand up to the monstrous machinery used in many of these amusement park and carnival rides. If the slightest thing goes wrong, the results can be pretty grisly, whether it's people ignoring the rules, the rides breaking down, operator incompetence, or simply a freak accident. Every year, there are roughly around 30,000 amusement park related injuries. These could be from the rides or just from the features in the park in general. Deadly incidents are much more rare, with only a small amount of them having occurred in recent memory. In the past, there were many prominent theme park accidents, but in this era of safety and regulation, you would hope that number would dwindle to zero.
Roller coasters in 3
It has been
days,
said
bro,
that
with
you
nuts
have
and
more of a
bolts and
chance of
shit
being
and
eaten
wood.
by a shark, hit by lightning, or dying in a plane crash than dying in an amusement park. Some experts, like Jacob Wall, the president and CEO of the Global Association for the Attractions Industry, say that the chances of injury are going down every year. Some others place the odds of dying at 1 in 16 million. However, that
Yeah, no,
number
bro. If you
is
get on
not
an amusement,
zero.
if you get on an amusement park ride, as long as it's not like a fair ride or nothing, bro, you should be straight. Like if you go to Disneyland, Six Flags, Universal Studios, stuff like that, you're gonna be fine, bro. You're not gonna die there. Like unless you stand up mid ride and start turning around and stuff like that, you're not gonna die if you just stay in the seat and shit, bro. But nah, but you won't never catch me on a fucking no county fair ride or nothing like that. Oh hell no, bro. They fold them bitches up and put them in and put them up in 10 minutes,
First
bro.
off, let's look at the Schlitterbahn Water Park in Kansas City, Kansas. At Schlitterbahn, they had spent some years putting together a large new ride. They first came up with the idea in
Oh, I
2012
remember
in
this
what
one,
they called,
bro.
quote, a spur-of-the-moment bid to impress producers of the Travel Channel's Extreme Water Park series. This ride would be one that they would call verrückt, the German word for insane, and
Bro, I
insane it
remember
was.
this fucking ride,
It was a
bro.
168-foot tall water slide. The thing was so huge that you would have to climb up 264
No, I remember
steps
this
just to
story.
make
I
it to
remember
the
like hearing
top.
about this shit.
It was soon certified as being the world's tallest water slide in the Guinness World Records. The problem is, the slide was designed in part by the co-owners of the Schlitterbahn, Wayne Henry and John Schuley, neither of which had any
Schlitterbahn,
technical
yo?
skills relevant to either creating rides or making sure they were built in a safe way. The park's director of operations,
Wait, what?
Wayne Henry and John Schuley, neither of which had any technical skills relevant to either creating rides or making sure they were built in a safe way.
And why the hell were they allowed to make rides if they're not capable of making rides, yo? What kind of dumb shit is that? The fuck, bro? Nah, bro. I hope them people got sued and shit and arrested, bro. Cause what the fuck you mean? You didn't know how to make rides and you made a ride and someone died from it, bro.
The park's director
Bullshit,
of operations,
bro.
Tyler Austin Miles, did what he could to help in building the slide as well. In this ride, park patrons would ride
Now,
together
they better
in a
have locked
multi-person
everybody
raft.
involved building this ride. The owners, those two dudes that were just talking about, they didn't know what the fuck they were doing and shit.
And that each
All
raft
of
had
them,
to have
bro.
a certain number of people to disperse the weight between them. Many people would end up getting put into a raft with people they didn't know. One day in August of 2016, a man named Scott Schwab, who served as a member of the Kansas House of Representatives, heard some interesting news.
Y'all see the
On the
games?
7th, the park would be holding what they called Elected Officials Day. On that day, people like Scott, along with their families, would get to go to the park for free. Two of Scott's kids, Caleb and Nathan, decided that they wanted to try
Hold on.
out the Verrucht ride. Given the weight requirements of the raft, the two brothers ended up getting split up with other teams in order to get the best balance.
Bro.
Nathan hopped onto the first raft, having a good time and safely making his way down to the bottom of the slide. He walked over to the side of the ride.
Bro, that is so sad, bro. Cause his brother finished first too, so he was probably just like waiting for him down there. And then imagine when he just sees all the blood and stuff. Oh my god, bro.
And looked up so that he could see his brother coming
Oh
down.
my
Caleb
god.
was a bit nervous about going, but his father, Scott, told him, "Look at me, brothers stick together."
Oh
Caleb
my God.
responded with, "I know, Dad."
Oh my
That would be the
God,
last time
bro.
that Scott would speak to his son ever again.
Bro.
Caleb entered into the front of the next raft.
Bro, I know that.
Behind him
I hope
sat
the dad knows it's not his fault, bro, and I hope the dad like. Fuck, bro. I know that dad was hurting and like feeling crazy guilt after that, bro. And I hope he knows it's not his fault and stuff like that, bro.
two sisters. Now they were all ready to take the plunge. As they took off down the slide, they started hitting speeds of about 70 miles per hour. One problem with this ride was that the rafts would often go airborne for a second, causing the riders to come slamming back down onto the slide. This time it would be much more intense than usual. About halfway down the slide, the raft went airborne once again, but this time the three of them went much higher than intended. Over that section of the slide was a net with arch-shaped metal bars holding it up. Caleb was launched upwards into the netting. One of the metal poles struck him directly in the neck, sending his head and his body
Damn.
flying in two different directions.
Could you imagine being the people on the ride too? Cause they're all strangers that don't even know who that is, bro, and they just see a little boy just. Oh my god. Yo, R.I.P., bro, for real, dude.
Other women were injured as well, suffering multiple fractures to their faces. To his horror, Caleb's younger brother, Nathan, had seen the whole thing happen from
His
below.
younger brother. No. Oh. Oh my, this is the worst one, bro. I hate every single time this story gets brought up, bro, cause like it's so sad, bro.
He took off running towards his mom,
Rest in peace,
frantically
bro.
screaming, "He flew from the Verrucht! He flew from the Verrucht!" One witness to the incident, a man named Esteban Castaneda, described how things looked after the accident. He said that at first he heard a few loud booms coming from the slide. Then he saw the raft come down. After, a body came with it. Not seeing a face, he thought that the person might have their head underwater and might need help. He rushed in to see what he could do, but a lifeguard stopped him.
Bro.
Without going into detail, the lifeguard said, "There is nothing you could do to help him." It was at this point that Esteban noticed that the body no longer had a head.
Damn, bro. Bro. Oh my. This shit is so fucking tragic, bro. Rest in peace. I hope everybody involved healed properly and they're having. It's not possible to hear from something like that, bro. Could you imagine being his brother, seeing his own brother get decapitated, bro? Rest in peace, bro. Genuine. I hope that everybody involved is doing good now.
Esteban already had a bad feeling that day. He had ridden the slide earlier in the day with his 14-year-old niece. That girl had said that the Velcro on her safety belt came off in the middle of the ride. Anything could have happened. Ambulances and the police were on the scene shortly after. The Schlitterbahn water park came to close down for the next 3 days. Even when it
3
reopened,
days? You gotta close it for at least a month, bro. 3 days.
stayed closed for an investigation. At first,
Bro,
the
I would
investigators
not
weren't
go back to that. I would not go. You would never, ever catch me at that place ever after that happened, bro. Why would you still go back after knowing that somebody got decapitated on one of the rides, bro? You would not catch me there. You wouldn't catch me within 150 miles of that place, bro. Dead
exactly
ass.
sure what had caused Caleb's death. It seemed to be nothing more than a freak accident at first, something nobody could have predicted. However, as they continued interviewing park staff and patrons, they came to hear the truth. In a later interview, one lifeguard stated, "I told my friends and family it was only a matter of time until someone died on the Verrucht. An examination of
These fucking it's those two dumbass brothers fault or workers or whatever who built the damn thing and didn't know what the fuck they were doing, bro. They need to be charged for murder, bro. That is, they need to be locked up for
the
life.
slide guaranteed that rafts would occasionally go airborne in a manner that could severely injure or kill the occupants. It came to be clear that the park's director of operations, Tyler Austin Miles, had covered up multiple different reports of injuries on the ride. At least 13 other people had suffered from injuries on the slide, most of them reporting facial injuries, concussions, swollen black eyes, and herniated discs from the intensity of it. Even though many people had expressed serious concerns about the ride's safety, Tyler decided to ignore them. It wasn't long after that Jeff Henry, John Shuley, and the general contractor who worked on the slide, Henry & Sons Construction Company, were charged with second-degree murder.
Good, they should have got charged for first-degree murder, but I don't give a fuck. Bro, that shit, it wasn't planned out, but he knew about it and he could have done something to avoid it and stop it. So that should be first-degree murder, bro. That is.
Operations manager was also hit with a charge of manslaughter due to his previous cover-ups. Jeff and John came to admit that they had next to zero experience in engineering and used what they called crude trial and error in coming up with the ride. John stated in court, "If we actually knew how to do this and it could be done that easily, it wouldn't be that spectacular." With that, many people came to assume that these men would see some serious jail time.
Don't tell me they got
Scott
off free.
Schwab and his wife came to sue the Schlitterbahn Water Park, as well as a few other relevant companies. They ended up settling for $20 million after their son's death. They put most of the money into a scholarship in Caleb's name, called Can I Go Play, which was the phrase that they most often heard from their son. The scholarship aimed to, quote, help kids who are willing to work hard and dedicate themselves to the discipline of getting better at whatever sport they love.
Yo, I'm happy the parents turned that into something great for them. It didn't just like, what the hell is that? Yeah. It didn't just like, I'm saying I like, and didn't just like keep. I'm happy they turned it into something great and like helpful for everybody. You know what I mean? For a bunch of young kids to
be able to pursue that passion
stuff
without being held back by money. Given that Scott was a state representative in Kansas, it gave him the unique opportunity to create some legislation that would put stronger regulations at amusement parks. Eventually, the legislature voted in favor of a new law that made it so amusement parks were required to have their rides inspected by a certified inspector of a national board, and either a verified engineer with 2 years of experience with park rides.
Is that not common sense? Like, is it not common sense to have somebody who knows water slides and stuff to be working and inspecting water slides? That should have been a thing to begin with.
Were required to have their rides inspected by a certified inspector of a national board, and either a verified engineer with 2 years of experience with park rides, or someone with 5 years of experience in the industry. Parks would also be legally required to report any injuries that occurred on their property. To the disappointment of many, the judge overseeing the case came to drop all of the charges against Jeff Henry, John Shuley, and Tyler Miles.
Yep, this is why the justice system is all fucked up, bro. Dead fucking ass, bro. This is why niggas can never fucking win, because you fucking just saw that bullshit. You see that you see that the kid. You see that the two dudes was ignoring all the signs, fucking everything up, didn't even know what they were fucking doing, and y'all saw a 10-year-old boy die because of them, get decapitated on the ride, and have everybody involved traumatized forever. All that happened, and the judge is just gonna throw all the charges out the window. No, hell no, fire the judge and lock the judge up too, bro. That ass.
The Travel Channel had aired a documentary about the ride, one that was fairly dramatized. He said that this constituted prejudicial evidence. He also said that they hadn't actually broken any ride safety laws because the state of Kansas was so lax on them at the time that there were nearly zero laws in place.
Bro, them two dudes must have had some crazy dirt on the judge or something. Them two dudes must have had the judge sucking dick or some shit, bro, because there's no fucking way.
All of them got to walk free. Next, we're looking into the Orlando Freefall in Orlando, Florida.
Bro.
This case took place on March 24th, 2022. 14-year-old Tyree Sampson and his family were visiting Florida from St. Louis with a friend. They all came to attend the Icon Park together.
This shit was avoidable and fucked up too, bro. Like both of these things, like the first two were like are like avoidable and it could have been done. It could have been prevented if people were actually like caring and did their jobs and stuff, bro.
Wanted to ride the free fall. The free fall was one of those lift and drop type rides. The passengers would be raised about 400 feet into the air, the seats would tilt forward at about 30 degrees, and then the ride would drop in a free fall that
I
could
remember
reach
when the
4
video of this
Gs.
shit got like leaked
Then,
on
when the ride
Twitter
was
and
about
shit,
100
bro.
feet
Oh
off the
my
ground, it would
God.
hit the brakes. Tyree weighed 383 pounds at 14 years old. This was far above the 285-pound weight limit for one of the seats. It was later found that the ride had been tampered with, most likely by staff. Someone had made some adjustments to the sensors on the seat that enabled the harness to restraint opening to be almost double the amount that it normally should have been able to open. This allowed the safety light to come on even when the conditions were anything but safe.
Like I said, bro, that whoever allowed him to get on the ride and did all that bullshit, they should be locked up, bro. Dead ass, bro. And I hope they do, and I hope the story doesn't end like the last one did, where they just got to walk away
Tyree
free,
hopped
bro.
onto the ride. He was lifted all the way up into the air. Then he was dropped. When the ride started to put on its brakes, Tyree slipped from the restraints on his seat and was sent flying forward out of his chair and onto the pavement below. Everyone started to panic as other passengers on the ride demanded to be let out. Immediately, someone who appeared to be a supervisor
Could
started
you
asking
imagine being on the ride or something like that too, and or waiting in line for that, and then you just see that, bro, and then and then if you're on the ride, you're just locked in that seat, bro. Just have to look. Oh my fucking God! Rest in peace, bro. I feel bad for all these people involved. That ass, bro. The only people I don't feel bad for is the people that's like it's fault for it, like those two people at the beginning, and then the ride operator that tampered with the seat and stuff to get the sensor to pass by and shit.
employees who had
Those
been
are the only
securing
people
the
I don't feel
ride.
bad for in this
As
situation.
it turned out, the park attendants weren't ever instructed on the weight requirements or on how to properly place patrons into the seats. All they were told was that if the safety light was on, they were good to go. The attendant on that particular day had only been doing the job for 3 days.
And you didn't have a supervisor with him or nothing? You just gonna let him run the ride alone, bro? Like, what is? This video is pissing me off, bro. This video is pissing me because it's just a bunch of dumbass niggas that could have just avoided all this bullshit, bro.
didn't survive this fall. The autopsy said that he had died from blunt force trauma.
It's just
The
a bunch
Sampson
of
family decided to
dumbass
sue the owner
niggas,
of the
bro.
ride,
This
the
shit is pissing me
manufacturer,
off.
and the landlord of the park for failing to warn Tyree that his size could be a risk and for failing to provide working restraints. It wasn't too long before the family came to reach a settlement with Icon Park and Slingshot, the ride's operator. The amount they settled for is unknown. A few years later, they finally came to win in their lawsuit against Funtime, the Austrian manufacturer of the ride. The trial only lasted 1 day, given that nobody from Funtime actually appeared in court to defend themselves. It was decided that Funtime would pay a whopping $155 million to each of Tyree's parents. The family
Yeah,
paid
wait, yo,
$155 to
yo,
defend themselves. It was decided that Funtime would pay a whopping $155 million to each of Tyree's parents. The family's lawyer said, "The jury's decision confirms
Hey,
what
they
we have
balling
long
now,
argued."
bro. Rest in peace to their son. That'll never bring their son back, but bro, 300 M's, bro. 300 M's, nigga. 300 M's. I'm sacrificing somebody too. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just. My fault, bro. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
Tyree's death was the result of blatant negligence and a failure to prioritize safety over profits. The ride's manufacturers
Genuine
neglected
question,
their
though. You
duty
think
to
they was
protect
happy when they got that
passengers,
300
and this
M's?
outcome ensures that they face the
No,
consequences.
because obviously it was happy, but like happy because like I know because they it's hard to be happy because like you the reason you got the money is because your son died, but you think they was happy to get $300 million, bro? Like, cause like
It was decided that the ride would be taken down entirely.
good.
However, Tyree's mom said that it was a bit of a bittersweet feeling. She
Yeah,
said,
that's what I was saying.
"The ride is coming down, and I'm thankful for that, but my son's not coming back."
Rest in peace, bro.
Now, let's take a look at the Fujin Raijin 2 in Osaka. Expo Land was an amusement park that had been alive and thriving in Osaka for 30 years by the time of this story. The park was built in 1970 and covered a fairly large portion of land. It had been one of the most popular parks in Japan among thrill seekers. Over 20 years after the park originally opened, they came up with a new ride, that being a roller coaster that they would call the Fujin Raijin 2. It was a 6-car standing roller coaster that
In
was
the
over a kilometer in
70s?
length. They would hit
I
speeds of
might.
about
Was this in the?
120
I might.
kilometers per
I
hour
missed the
while
date
twisting,
part.
turning, and spinning around. The ride continued to operate for about 15 years and was a massive success. However, in 2007, that
Oh,
ride would change the
2007.
future of the park with a
Where the
single
fuck did I get the
gruesome
70s from,
incident.
bro?
It was May 5th, the Children's Day holiday in Japan, and the park was full of people. The Fujin Raijin 2 could carry up to 24 people in the standing position. On this peaceful Saturday
standing rides
afternoon,
are
just
so
before
fucking
1
tough,
p.m.,
bro.
18 women and 4 men made their way onto the ride. One of the riders was a 19-year-old university student named Yoshino Kagawara.
Jeez, bro.
Another was her friend, 20-year-old Sayuri Furukawa, who stood behind her. The ride proceeded
Oh
as
my
normal.
god, rest in peace. Imagine seeing your friend go out like oh my god. Like imagine seeing your friend like pass away in like that bad of a situation, you feel me? Right in front of you, bro. Oh my god. I
For
would
the
have wished that
first
on
half of the
anybody, bro,
course.
for real.
Then, after they passed the halfway point, the passengers were about to make their way past an emergency walkway with a handrail. That's when an axle broke loose on the side of Yoshino's car. This sent the ride tilting to the left at about 90 degrees. Yoshino's head came to strike that very guardrail, and it was dragged and grinded against that rail for the next 275 meters, killing her. Her friend, Sayuri, who was behind her, suffered serious injuries herself. In addition,
Bro, that's one of the worst ones, yo. And so she was alive probably for those like 250 feet she was getting dragged for by her head, bro.
18 of the other riders suffered some more minor injuries. The riders were left stuck in their seats with the gruesome
They were
scene
left
next to
stuck
them
in
as
these
park
seats
operators
too,
called for an
bro.
ambulance.
Oh my god.
Eventually, firefighters
So they had
and
to
EMTs
just
were able to make their
everybody
way
in
out
that
to
ride
where
just had to just sit there and just look. Oh,
the
dude, I
accident had occurred with a
can't.
They
Oh
put a
my
tarp over
god.
Yoshino's body while they escorted the other passengers to safety, including Sayuri, who was going to need to be hospitalized. Unfortunately, when the Japanese media first showed some images of Yoshino, they inexplicably used pictures of her from middle school,
Bro,
photos from
come on, bro. Why you going? Come on, bro. That is so fucking disrespectful, dude. What the fuck?
nearly 10 years
Come
ago
on,
when she was
bro.
much heavier. This led to the public blaming Yoshino, saying that she was too
Come
fat for
on,
the ride
bro.
and that her weight had likely caused it to
Why are
tip
y'all
over.
doing her like this,
The
bro?
media
After
would
she
later
passed
use
away
more current
in a
photos
tragic
of her where
way,
she had
bro.
lost a significant amount of weight, but the damage to her reputation was done.
Yo,
The
they needed
investigators
them.
began
Them people who posed that article and posting them pictures and shit need to be sued for defamation of character. I don't know what it's called. Some shit like that, bro.
scouring every
Like
piece of the ride to
something
find out what
character
had
and
went
shit,
wrong.
bro. Dead ass.
Eventually, they found out what it was: an axle that hadn't been replaced in a whole 15 years. As the roller coaster had hit the halfway point in the ride, the axle had cracked. One of the wheels had completely fallen off onto the ground. As they continued to investigate, they found out that it wasn't only that axle. It seemed that none of them had been replaced before, not
Bro.
even once. At
This is
first,
the
the authorities weren't sure
This
what
is
to
the
do with the
third
park
one.
operators.
This
They
is the third one that could have fucking been avoided if niggas actually cared about did their fucking job. What did I keep saying? Fuck, bro. This shit is pissing me off, nigga. Bro, it's the third fucking one that could have been avoided. Niggas that did they shit.
grew angry as the investigation continued, though. This was because they found the exact same problems with other rides in the park. 3 of the park
Nope, yeah,
employees
I was about to say arrest the give the owners the death penalty right now, bro. Dead ass,
in charge
bro.
of this kind of thing were hit with charges of professional negligence resulting in death and injury.
No,
A
give
year
the
after
owner
the
life,
accident,
bro.
They came to plead guilty. They admitted to postponing the
Give this
mandatory
man.
inspections required by law.
They should strap him on the same. They should strap all 3 of them on the same ride and play it through for their death penalty, death and shit. They should put them all on the same ride, run it through and shit, and then make sure the same shit happens. But what happened to her happens to them, so they can so they can see what that shit feels like. You feel me? Because that's what the fuck y'all would deserve and shit for not doing your jobs and checking up with people and making sure people are safe at your park, bro.
They even admitted to submitting forged safety reports after they had noticed visible cracks on the axle. As a result, they were hit with even more charges related to the forgeries. They were found guilty in all of the charges against them.
How long did they get, bro?
Several of the victims came to sue the park as well,
how long did
all
they
of them
get?
reaching settlements that haven't been detailed. When the park reopened after all the legal trouble was over,
You would never
barely
catch
anyone
me
came
back.
back.
Yeah, I was about to say.
A park spokesman told the Japan Times, "We couldn't regain the people's trust."
No shit.
They were having a very hard time securing any corporate sponsors as well. As a result,
No
less than 2
shit.
years later, the park ended up closing for good. After the roller coaster was torn down, the park looked pretty empty. This led to a lot of urban explorers coming out to the ruins of the park to walk around, take it all in, and get some photos. On October 19th, 2015, a new park called Lalaport Expo City opened on the old Expo Land grounds. Rather than the more extreme thrills that the previous park used to host, this one is much more mellow. Now it simply hosts a large Ferris wheel as well as a lot of retail
Yo,
shops
no,
and
you will
entertainment.
never catch me on a fucking Ferris wheel, dude. Oh fuck, no. I'm afraid of heights. And then them bitches going up slow as hell, high as fuck, bro. And you're just sitting there, fucking dangling in the cart and shit. Fuck that. At the top too, and it's barely moving in like 1 mile per hour too.
It's
You
more
can
of a mall than a park now.
suck my dick with that one, but I swear to God, I'm fuck no.
Last up, let's take a look at the Texas Giant at the Dallas Six Flags in Texas. Here we have the story of a 52-year-old mother named Rosa Ayala Gaona
The
Esparza.
Texas Giant.
Here up, let's take a look at the Texas Giant
why
at
they
the
call it
Dallas Six
Texas
Flags
Giant,
in
and this is the
Texas.
first picture you show me.
Here we have the story of a 52-year-old mother named Rosa Ayala Gaona Esparza.
You don't gotta
She
call it the
had been
Texas
attending
Giant
Six
and then show
Flags
that
with a
picture
couple
right
of her
after, bro.
kids. They set their sights on a
No
large
disrespect,
roller
rest in
coaster,
peace.
the Texas Giant. The Texas Giant is a large steel roller coaster known for a few very steep drops that people have come to enjoy. Each train consists of 6 cars with the riders put into rows of 2. They're held down by both a lap bar and a seat belt. It was July 19th, 2013. When Rosa and her family made their way up to the ride, they were seen by onlookers, talking and laughing as they waited in line. Eventually, it was their turn to enter into the roller coaster. They all got strapped into their seats, and moments later, the roller coaster took off. The train made its way up the first hill. That's when the other passengers on the ride noticed that Rosa's...
Hey, how much you want to bet this death is gonna be exactly like the other ones? It could have been avoided if somebody actually did their work and didn't lie and shit about fake maintenance reports and shit like that, bro.
legs were up in the air. It seemed that she hadn't been fastened in properly.
Wait,
Notice that the train made its way up the first hill. That's when the other passengers on the ride noticed that Rosa's legs were up in the air. It seemed that she hadn't been fastened in properly. Her daughter turned around to see her mom's legs up in the air as she was nearly completely upside down in the seat. As the roller coaster made its way to the top of the hill, the other passengers were frantically trying to secure Rosa in her seat with the limited range of motion they had. By the time the train began its steep descent, it was too late for them to help. Rosa was sent flying from her seat in the third row
And her
and fell
daughter
forward
was
about
there too, bro. Her daughter had to see that shit. Oh my god, I don't even want to say repeat what I'm not even gonna say imagine because I don't want to repeat what just happened.